Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we are going to take a look at another of these brand new 2020 Mojo Fun figures, and this one is their brand new Troodon. It's one that I think a lot of people were really looking forward to just because there are so few Troodon figures out there, and I really think Mojo Fun did a fantastic job already on this figure, and I haven't even taken a closer look at it yet. But I will say that the paint application on this is beautiful, absolutely beautiful looking, really striking. I love the browns that they've chosen for the body, the primary part of the body. But when you come down into the arms and you get into these kind of like early flight feathers, I love this white coloration with the striping of the dark brown. And you also see that up here on the neck. I think those were such incredibly natural, very bird-like plumage colors, but I think it just looks so good on this figure. Awesome choices on the part of Mojo Fun for the paint application of the figure, but that's only half the battle. What we also need to take a look at is the detailing and sculpt, so let's get a closer look at it right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt of our Troodon, you can see just how nicely done the overall skin texture of the head is. Really beautiful scaling all over the place. You can see really beautiful detailing right around the eye. Also lots of kind of creases in the skin and everything all around the eye. You can see that the eyes are painted really nicely with a nice yellowish color and a black pupil. The jaw is articulated and it can open pretty wide, not super wide. The inside of the mouth is colored with a nice pinkish coloration. For the most part, a pretty realistic color. The tongue looks to be nicely textured as well. Beautiful detailing on that tongue. The teeth look to be painted really nicely actually on this side. There's no sloppiness really that I can see anywhere. Maybe a tooth that they might have missed right there, but the teeth are very small. It'd be probably pretty hard to get each and every tooth when this is a mass-produced figure like that. You can see a little sloppiness on this side. The paint is kind of run down onto the jaw, and there's not really too much going on as far as sloppiness on the top, but that's still pretty impressive to me, just how nicely painted the teeth do look, even though there's a little area of sloppiness here, but the teeth are so incredibly small. You can see this in my hand, so it's still pretty impressive how nice of a job they did do on the overall paint application of the teeth. The jaw is a little loose, I will say that, as far as being an articulated jaw. You can see once you put it there, it does start to kind of fall open a little bit, but mine might just be a little loose because I've been playing with the jaw a little bit here, waiting for my camera to load up and everything, so I've been kind of just messing with it. So the jaw might be just a little loose right now, but you can see how like once I push it up, it kind of falls back open, but it's not open all the way. Even when you close the mouth, it doesn't go closed completely, but when it's right about there, you can still open it further, so it doesn't just completely fall open. But the jaw, like I said, is articulated, so that's always a plus. Some people really do like having articulated jaws on their figure, myself included. I do love the variations of brown up here on the head. You can see like a nice dark brown here and then a lighter brown that runs around the area of the back of the skull, and then down here on the lower jaw, it's an even lighter brown. So really nice color variation on the part of Mojo here. When it comes to the way they've painted the figure, I think they did a very good job as far as making it look quite realistic. As we start to run down the neck, you can see some very nice feathers up here on the top of the head and beautiful feathering down here on the side of the neck. You can see just how nicely done they've sculpted out each and every feather really well. Beautiful detailing actually within the feathers also. If we can get it to focus a little bit, you can see just how nice the actual feathers look. I really love that tuft of feathers right there on the top of the head. That looks so beautiful. And again, the white and brown kind of striping effect that they've done here looks incredibly natural. Very, very realistic. The type of thing I would expect to see on like a modern day bird. So it looks so good on this Troodon. The white extends down here onto the underside of the jaw and the underside of the neck. Really nice looking, very flashy look to it, but again in a very natural way. As we extend back here into the body, you can kind of see that they've given it like a very light brown wash here and there in certain areas, and then the body is primarily painted with a darker brown to really kind of elaborate the feathers, and I think they did a great job of doing just that. As we come down here into the arm, you can see that these very early flight feathers look great. I love that they're kind of separated in certain areas, giving it again a very realistic appearance also. And the layering of the feathers as we extend out into those further flight feathers looks really, really nice. The detailing of the actual feathers, again, you can really get an idea of that now. Here on these bigger feathers, looks great, and the brown and white striping is just unbelievably nice looking, like I stated earlier, up on the neck. If we go to the inside, you can actually see the hands in there, and the nails of the hands are painted. Looks really beautiful from every view that I can get of both the arms and the outside of the arms, with the really nice plumage that this Troodon does in fact sport. As we start to come back into the body, you can make out the hip bone there through the feathers. We come down here, you can get a sense of the musculature as well there in the thigh, and also in general the bone structure. Kind of, you can see that these feathers are sticking out, but the leg actually runs up through here. That looks really, really cool. You can also kind of see the feathers and the skin stretching off of the body right there where it connects to the leg. Then we get down here into the leg, and you can see that the leg is painted beautifully. Lots of really nice scale work and skin texture has been put into the legs of the dinosaur. And you can see it's painted with like different variations of a very dark brown, like a burnt umber brown, and then a lighter brown, so it has incredibly realistic skin tones once again. Really nicely sculpted foot. You can see the sickle claw over there. Beautifully painted nails. There's a little tiny bit of sloppiness to the nails, but not really very much. The dew claw is also painted. Even looking at the inside of the leg, look how nice that feathering looks in there. Over here as well, really, really nice looking sculpt work. The sculpt and detail from Mojo Fun has just improved leaps and bounds drastically over the past few years. They went from being a company that I felt like was really overlooked and kind of underrated to a company that in no time could easily be surpassing a lot of the other companies that are currently out making dinosaur figures. And then as we come back here, you can again see how nice that feather sculpt is all over the place. As we run back the animal, you can also get a sense of kind of the spinal column as we come back into the tail. And then we've got these beautiful tail feathers back here. Look at how wonderful of a job they did on the overall sculpting of the feathers here on the tail. As I turn it, you can really get a sense of all the detail throughout the tail, and I love that they kind of give this a rim of like that same burnt umber brown that you see that stripes the wings and the neck, but back here it just kind of comes out and rims around, and then you've got these white tail feathers here to help give it a nice striking appearance. I think that was a great choice, and really cool that they didn't do this kind of striping effect out here. They did give it a slightly different appearance, because I feel like more often than not, if you have like the striping here and here, you're probably going to do the striping out here, but Mojo Fun opted not to do that, and I think it was a really good choice on their part and ended up paying off quite nicely. The underside of the tail feathers also looks great, and you can see you have some of that brown down here also that kind of rims around the tail, and the detailing of the feathers on the underside really looks very good also as you run up the entire length of the underside of the dinosaur. Beautifully sculpted on every single side that I can see it. The feathers over here on the arm look great, and I love, again, like I said before, that you can kind of see like the feathers are separated here, but over on this side they're separated in like a different way, so it really looks very realistic because they're not exactly the same as they look over here. They definitely look like they're separated differently over here, helping to make this look like a much more realistic version of a Troodon. It really does in general have a lot of realism, I think, to the figure, and that is a really nice touch that not everybody may have picked up on, but I definitely noticed that because I love little things like that. Mojo Fun really showing and giving a good dose of realism in the figure. You can see the arm coming up here into the body on this side, kind of some saggy feathers a little bit right there, and you can also get a sense of kind of the skin and feathers pulling from the body, and again the sense of the leg there hiding underneath the feathers. That looks really, really cool. Beautiful foot sculpt over here also. I feel like maybe the sickle claw might be a little too small, but I'm not too familiar with Troodon, so I don't exactly know what the length of the sickle claw would be, so it may in fact look like that. And again, we come up here to the tail. Really, really beautiful looking tail. So the overall appearance of this, as far as the sculpt and detail and the paint application, is fantastic. So as far as a size goes on our Troodon, from the head to the tip of the tail feathers, you're going to see it come in at about 8 and almost 8.25 inches, maybe a little bit under, or about 22 centimeters for a length, and for a height to the top of the head, about 3.5 inches or around 9 centimeters, and for a height to the top of the tail, about 4.25 inches or about 10, maybe 11 centimeters, somewhere in that range. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, and next to him you can definitely tell that this Mojo Fun Troodon has some very good size to it, considering how small Troodon actually was. It's really nice to get a very sizable figure of the species. It's in general nice, honestly, to get a figure of a Troodon, because we really do not get them pretty much ever. But it's also nice that once we did get one here, we got one that definitely has some good size to it. And again, it's not overly large at all. I really feel like it's probably a perfect size for a Troodon figure. So Mojo Fun continues to impress when it comes to the decision on what sizes to make their figures. Another beautifully sized 2020 figure from Mojo Fun. So this Troodon from Mojo Fun for their 2020 prehistoric line is absolutely beautiful. I love everything about this figure. I think that the way they've sculpted it looks really good. It looks very natural in the position that it's standing in. You can almost kind of get a sense of if you had like quite a few of these, maybe like a small flock of Troodon, they're kind of about to leap into action to take down a predator or something, because it's kind of crouched a little bit and has its arms down and its legs are sort of crouched a little bit, almost like it's about to jump, maybe leap up onto a dinosaur and start trying to take it down. So it has a very cool, very natural position to it. Nothing on this figure looks like it's out of the realm of possibility when it comes to how a Troodon could probably move. I love that the tail is nice and straight, but kind of has a slight curve in an upward position. Everything as far as the pose looks great. I also love the very little things, the very minute details that they throw in that, unless you're really looking for it, you may not actually notice it. Things like the flight feathers on the arms kind of being in different positions. It's something that you would definitely see if Troodon were alive today. It wouldn't have absolutely perfect looking feathers in every spot on its body, and they've beautifully portrayed that here in the sculpt of the Troodon. It's little things like that that really make and break a figure for me, because I think that that just ups the realism level of the figure just so much more. The paint application that they've gone with on this figure is incredible as well. I love the colors they chose as far as the skin tone for like the face and the legs, those dark browns. And the way they've applied the browns looks really good. They have different variations of browns with lighter and darker tones, giving it an incredibly realistic look as well. And that beautiful striping of the white and brown just looks so good on both the neck and the wings, and the way they've kind of bordered around the tail on the tail feathers, how it just runs out and kind of rims around the somewhat lighter brown that is the primary body color, was also such a great choice as far as the way that they painted this. The coloration of it is honestly perfect. I think the sculpt is great, the paint is great, everything on this figure is so good looking. The only slight issue with the entire figure would be the fact that the jaw is a little bit loose, but that may be just limited to mine, and it also may be just because I was kind of playing with it there for a few minutes as I was waiting for my camera to load up, so I may have loosened the jaw a little. Who knows? Regardless, I don't really mind that at all, and the jaw does work quite well, aside from the fact that it does fall back open from time to time, but even still, it looks really good. I really recommend this Troodon to anybody that is looking to get one. Definitely a surefire win from Mojo Fun for their 2020 line. So, this will definitely be coming into stock on everythingdinosaur.com along with thejenkins.com, so keep checking back to those websites for when this does come into stock, because it's definitely something that I recommend anybody interested to just go ahead and purchase. Really beautiful looking figure. So again, check back to those websites, buy this when it does eventually show up, but before you go doing all that, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.